Welcome everyone to the quick as possible vivisection for Bellator 189. Julia Budd versus Arlene Blencowe 2. Me, Zane Simon, and my co-host Eddie Mercado. We were hoping to have Vic with us today, but he couldn't make it. He's out doing some combate stuff in Texas, so we are going to break down the main card of this Bellator 189 event this week, and there's an undercard on it. I don't know if Juliana Velasquez is any good or not. She seems like the most notable prospect on the card, just from a records perspective. We are not going to talk about anything on the prelims except Sam Cecilia versus Marcos Galvao because we just do not have the time, and I do not give a shit.
I think we should also note that Alexis Dufresne was on this card. However, she missed weight, so she is off. She missed weight again, and she's off the card. She missed weight when she fought Marlis Kunin.
Yep. Derek Anderson was also supposed to be on this at some point, but got injured.
Yeah.
Against Adam Piccolotti. So, let's just jump right in then to the final prelim bout before the main card, and Sam Cecilia is making his Bellator debut against Marcos Galvao. What are your thoughts on it?
I think this is an absolute must-win for Sam Cecilia. He will not get a better stylistic matchup than Marcos Galvao, who has the most porous striking defense of anyone considered at the top of the bantamweight division, so or featherweight division, excuse me. I'm just so unexcited for this fight. I really do not like Marcos Galvao. He just moved up to featherweight, and I just feel like the sport has completely passed him by, and I just feel like he's target practice at this point for anyone who's a reasonable striker. And Sam Cecilia, one thing he can do is throw a really heavy right hand, and
he hits hard. Otherwise, he's not a reasonable striker, but he does hit hard.
Yeah, and that's kind of all you really need to beat Marcos Galvao. I mean, sure, Galvao could, he could sub Cecilia here, but I mean, I wouldn't bank on it. I wouldn't count on it. Oh man, this is like the land of misfit toys right here. It's a tough featured prelim bout, but if someone holds a gun to my head and makes me pick, I'm gonna pick Sam Cecilia.
Yeah, I mean, the tough part of that is that Marcos Galvao, for all the target practice he is, has still only been KO'd once in the past 7 years.
Yeah, but man, I guess that's a testament to his chin.
Yeah.
And his toughness, but
the question is chin and toughness and the willingness to scrap it up enough to beat Sam Cecilia? Because it might be.
It could be. And that's the thing, is he's definitely down to make mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
Can be capitalized on. But I feel like Galvao's like one of those guys.
For a full fight with Yaotin Meza. Like, he actively chose to grapple with a dude who only grapples. Still won the fight, but that was the last time Cecilia won a fight.
Yeah, July 2015. Well, you see, it's like Galvao, he looks good on paper.
Yeah.
Like, if you just happen to pull up his record, pull him up on SureDog or whatever, it's like, oh, he was on a nice run, won the belt back, lost to Dantas again and beat LC Davis, lost a decision to Emmanuel Sanchez, who was deserving of a title shot. Like, he's just doing his thing. But, man, if you just watch him in these fights, there's really nothing to get excited about, or no glimmer of hope that Galvao is going to have a return to form and be this threat at the top of the featherweight division. Like, I just don't see it. So I got to pick Cecilia here, even though I'm not happy about picking a guy coming off of 3 straight losses. Like,
I'm going to pick the intensely sad pick and pick Marcos Galvao.
That is sad.
It's not like a complete shit show of a fight. Where, he just manages to out-grapple Sam Cecilia all fight, who cannot stop himself from shooting in on Galvao and mixing it up on the mat with him.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pick a non-USADA Sam Cecilia here. That's
Fair enough. Well, it should also be noted with Galvao moving up a division that actually, like, I actually do think Cecilia can take it at featherweight against a guy who's not a featherweight.
definitely not a featherweight. Doesn't hit like a featherweight. Hopefully, he has a featherweight chin.
Yeah, Sam Cecilia is the smart pick. I'm picking Galvao because I'm happy for the chaos there. Um, Galvao is the favorite. In fact, opened at -185, and that has been adjusted up to -160 since the line opened.
Who's the favorite? I'm sorry.
Galvao.
Don't bet on this. Like, there's no legit reason to bet on this other than
Sam
profit.
Cecilia is the underdog. Opened at +140, has dropped +120 so far.
Definitely scheduled to be the saddest fight on the card out of notable people.
All right. After that, a bout between Adam Piccolotti and David Rickles. And this is an interesting fight. Piccolotti has got a developing grappler who kickboxes just well enough to make you respect his kickboxing style. The interesting thing here against Rickles is that Rickles has literally never lost anyone who can't knock him out. He doesn't have the best chin in the world. But most of his problem is, he lost to Carl Amasu by split decision in 2012. Tell a lie. But most of Rickles' problem has been that he's just not the best athlete in the cage at the elite levels. So when he faces top-level dudes who are faster and more powerful than him, he gets clubbed, and that's it. Piccolotti's got a nice-looking style for dudes that are not way up the chain. He can throw some flash, like in his Gertz fight. He threw some flying knees and stuff like that. But also in that Gertz fight, in an extended stand-up time, his striking gets really predictable. He just he throws some kicks and then he just kind of moves around and looks for one big exciting strike to throw. I'm picking a caveman. I'm picking Rickles to be able to figure that out given the time and shut it down. I don't think that Piccolotti can knock him out, and he might be able to take him down and sub him, maybe, but that Gertz fight kind of gives me the idea that against guys that aren't interested in going out and grappling with him and mixing it up, or can't keep him or can keep their distance from him, he's not going to get that fight. So
yeah, this one, man, this is tough. It's like, where is Piccolotti? Is he at this point in his career good enough to be one of those top talents? Or does he have a lot of growing to do? I think he looked really good against Brandon Gertz, but I don't know if that says more about Gertz than it does Piccolotti, because Gertz really hasn't done anything since then. And, Piccolotti just got ran through by Goiti Yamauchi, and I did not expect that whatsoever. I thought Piccolotti was going to be able to hold his own on the ground. So this is interesting. And, like you said, Rickles loses to guys that can knock him out. He's Mr. 500. He wins every other fight. Michael Chandler, he got knocked out. Fought Bobby Cooper, who, couldn't hang with him. He got knocked out. Melvin Gillard knocked out David Rickles in devastating fashion. And then Rickles comes back and he knocks out Aaron Darrow just by being too much of a brute for him, basically. So, you got venomous strikers and David Rickles. They are the only two things that have beaten David Rickles in recent history. Rickles has never been subbed. His last decision loss was in 2012, like you were saying. I'm taking Rickles here. I won't be surprised if Piccolotti wins, but
yeah,
Piccolotti really needs to prove to me that he can beat someone like David Rickles.
Yeah, getting beat in your own strength, it does not give me the sense that Piccolotti is just this unbreakable jiu-jitsu wizard who's going to go out and sub everybody. And like I say, his striking game, there's some flash to it. It's more exciting than you'd expect, but it's not incredibly it's not deep enough to stop anyone.
Yeah, or powerful enough.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't have that one hitter quitter that will back off David Rickles.
Yeah.
Rickles is coming. He's coming forward. And can Piccolotti keep him off of him or out grapple him once he gets there? And there's too many question marks for me to comfortably pick Piccolotti in that. So I'll go with Rickles.
Odds on that, Piccolotti is in fact the favorite, opening at -180 and falling steadily to -202. Rickles opening at +140 and rising consistently to +165. Kind of a little surprised at that.
I'm very surprised at that. But I was also surprised that Piccolotti was decently favored over Brandon Gertz. That turned out to be wise.
Yeah.
I was surprised to see him favored over Yamauchi. That turned out to be a bad choice. So who knows what's going on here, man? I think Rickles is definitely a live dog at underdog odds.
That brings us to now to a middleweight bout: Chidi Kiwanee versus Hisaki Cacho.
Interesting fight here. Like a real interesting clash of styles because they're both strikers, but very, very different in their approach to their striking. Kiwanee, he was on a real mean streak as of late. He won 7 straight before, 4 of those in Bellator, before running into Andrei Koreshkov, who just took his lunch in just over 4 minutes at Bellator 182. Chidi did attack the legs early on Koreshkov, which was great and effective. But, I mean, Koreshkov just closed the distance and basically just big brothered Chidi Kiwanee, as I thought he would. You know, he was just way too aggressive for Chidi, and the passive style can be overwhelmed. And you know, it was a shellacking. Koreshkov really just, once he got him down, he just beat the hell out of him. Chidi went fetal mode and just covered up and took his beating. Cacho, you know, he's on a 3-fight winning streak. He got a win over in Risen, a quick 1-minute knockout, and then finished off AJ Matthews right before the buzzer, and then went on and had a really weird fight with Halleck Gracie. That was like, it was just this patient assault. Like he was kicking the shit out of him, but in such a slow and methodical pace and a real safe pace. And like the second round of that, there was a moment where the referee stopped both fighters and was like, hey, you guys need to fight because this is what you're paid here to do, is fight. And you're just kind of staring at each other. So Gracie literally did nothing but stand there and defend himself, at least in the second round. The third round comes, you know, Cato's kicking the leg. He's doing good, but Gracie finally gets a takedown, moves to full mount, but runs out of time before he can do anything with it. So what does that fight tell me? It tells me that Hisaki Cacho needs an opponent that's going to come at him. That's when he is most effective, when he can use his movement, use his counters, attack with these blitzing strikes that will put his opposition away. And when he doesn't have that, you know, he has to force those openings, and that's not really his style. That's not his MO. Now, Gracie was super passive, didn't give Cacho anything to work with, but Chidi Kiwanee can be just as passive. I mean, this dude, he will wait for his shot. This dude is a sniper. He is a sharpshooter. So not only can he be just as passive as Gracie, but he's actually capable of returning some pretty lethal venom, you know, when he sees his opposition. So he's more than comfortable sitting back and waiting for that perfect shot. So I think Cacho needs to push the pace and impose himself on Chidi, almost in a big brother kind of way, if he wants to get him out of there. However, the problem with that is whenever we see Cacho forcing the issue, you know, it doesn't work out good for him. We saw him do that with Melvin Manhoff, and he got knocked out.
He almost got knocked out by AJ Matthews doing it.
Yeah, he did. Absolutely. So I'm picking Chidi here. I think in order for Cacho to win, he has to fight the fight that's going to get him knocked out.
Yep.
And if he sits back, then I can't see him winning on points. You know, Chitty's too fundamentally sound and too down for that slow-paced kickboxing point fighting.
Yeah.
So I got to go Chitty by decision, if not the knockout.
Yeah, I can't disagree with any of that. I mean, I think the big thing with Cacho really is that he's a perfect setup fighter to go against action brawlers. Like, if you want, to have Cacho out there looking good, you just pitch 1,000 AJ Matthews at him, and he will have all the wild, fun, brawl, knockout, like, thrilling fights you can make possible.
Or Joe Schilling.
Yeah, or Joe Schilling, who has never seen a punch he didn't want to throw, Yeah. And like those kind of dudes, he has exactly the answer for that style. He's great at finding a guy who's wild's chin. He's good at, when he gets hurt, at returning fire and like making himself being hurt an opportunity to land something on an opponent. But Kiwanee, like, the book on him, if you want to beat him, is you wrestle him. You go out there, you get physical with him, you put it on him, throw him around, make him work, make him get tired. If you just let him sit back and snipe, he's going to beat you. And Cacho's tools in that kind of fight just don't seem fundamentally deep enough to win. So I got to take Chi and Kiwanee.
Yeah, I don't know. I like Cacho, man, and
I do too.
I might even be rooting for him in this one, but I just think it's just a bad matchup for him.
Yeah, he's not made to win like elite level MMA striking contests with dudes that have, that are. And Kiwanee's not like, he doesn't have a deep game otherwise, but he's a very good striker if all you're doing is putting him in a kickboxing match.
Yeah, and Cacho's not going to take over the fight with his wrestling, and you really need to put Kiwanee up against the fence and stifle him.
Kiwanee is, the interesting thing too, though, is this is Kiwanee's first fight at middleweight. He's been kind of drifting up to it, so
yeah, that's interesting.
Interesting to watch. Long time welterweight. Started fighting at like 175. Then I think he had a 180 catch weight, and now he's at 185. So, and Kiwanee opened at -190, has drifted up to -177, or steadily gone up to -177, I guess you'd say. And Cacho opened at +150, adjusted up to +160, and has slowly gone down to +147. So those odds slowly getting closer to even, which could mean that waiting on Kiwanee would be worth it if you.
Yeah, if you want him and the odds are going in that direction, that's the way to go. But Cacho is dangerous, but Kiwanee's not one to get taken out by one clean shot.
No, I mean, other than Korshkov mauling him, he got knocked out by Brandon Thatch way back in the day. But that's way back in the day.
Like 2011 back in the day.
Exactly. He has never been knocked out since then. So, other than the Korshkov fight, which, like I said, that was largely a ground and pound sort of mauling.
Although Korshkov did drop Kiwanee with that spinning back fist during that fight. Which cool.
Is something that Cacho can replicate.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe the size will come into play here a little bit, but I honestly don't think it'll be that much of a factor.
No. That brings us to co-main event, Chris Honeycutt versus Rafael Lovato Jr. And I want to pick Honeycutt. Seems like the smart pick, because he's a powerful wrestle boxer, can throw with a little heat, get on top, stay busy, hurt guys, fundamental MMA skill set. And Lovato's out here like weird jiu-jitsu dude who obviously has a lot of faith in his grappling and is just sort of like, he throws some heat on the feet because of it, but it's mostly like, I know how to grapple, so I can just be kind of wild and unstructured and do whatever and make something happen.
Yeah, the jiu-jitsu striking, as I call it.
Jiu-jitsu striking. I think Lovato's going to win this, and I think he's going to win it just because Honeycutt is still not a defensively aware enough fighter. He might catch Lovato big or take him down or something and get tangled up on the ground with him. But Lovato's like his wrestling and his takedowns and his the control he exerts on the ground. He's not just like a jiu-jitsu guy who gets stuck on the bottom and then doesn't know what to do. The dude obviously has sweeps and trips and crafty scrambling technique that he can use Maya style to, like, even if you take him down, he's going to be on top of you before long. And, like watching Honeycutt against Kevin Casey, he beat Kevin Casey because Kevin Casey's Kevin Casey and kicked him really hard in the nuts, which if you want to beat Kevin Casey is really smart because Kevin Casey is exactly the kind of dude who loses his cool if he gets fouled and feels like he doesn't even want to do this fight anymore and this is bullshit and things are already not going the way he wanted and fuck all this.
Smart tactic.
It is. But he also, like, Honeycutt dove like right into a guillotine in that fight and got twice and got locked up in something that Casey couldn't finish. But I think Lovato's a craftier grappler. I think he's a trickier, more dangerous grappler than Kevin Casey. And I think if Honeycutt makes those kind of mistakes where he just gets on top and thinks, or dives in on a takedown and thinks, I don't have to worry about it, I can do whatever I want with this guy from here, and gets defensively lazy, then he's going to get tapped out. So I'm taking Lovato by sub.
Man, I love that pick. I absolutely love the pick. Chris Honeycutt. He's one of those guys who was like really on my prospect list, but like after the first fight with Paul Bradley, I instantly removed him. I was like, no, he's not what I thought he was going to be. Like I knew that first no contest, I knew right then and there, it's not going to be. It's not going to be this wrestler who was super talented as a wrestler, comes into MMA, instantly takes the striking, like automatically is just this. So like recently we, for the 6th round retro, we went back and watched the Ultimate Fighter finale season 1, which had Josh Koscheck's debut. And that got me thinking about this. Like I remember Koscheck came in as this hardcore wrestler, but like he was developing strikes really fast. And it wasn't like a deep striking game. It wasn't exactly dynamic, but he understood that if he wanted to be effective, he had to use that explosiveness and that power and really get it into his dominant hand. And so that's what Koscheck did. He developed a really scary right hand. Same thing with Johnny Hendricks. Like these guys that were really successful in transitioning realized that, hey, I don't need to come out and be doing this technical kickboxing style that is these, pretty moves out here. Like I need to be a hoss and let these bolos fly. Like Paul Bradley, case in point. He fought Paul Bradley, just as good of a wrestler, except Bradley's a hoss who can throw his weight around in his punches. And that is something, for whatever reason, that Honeycutt doesn't do. It's like he has all the techniques, but he just doesn't necessarily know how to put them together in a way that works for him. It's like he has all the musical notes, but just isn't quite yet ready to compose a song. And so like he's kind of still one-dimensional, even though he does have these, these strikes. So if he wants to beat Lovato, he needs to come out and put him away on the feet, in my personal opinion. Lovato, he's down to throw on the feet. His debut was like 13 seconds. He comes out, kicks the dude in the head right across like the top of the forehead, and just realized he was hurt and stormed his castle. I mean, it was awesome. And then he chokes out Mike Rhodes, who was no slouch by any means, Rufus Sport product, former UFC guy. So, is Honeycutt going to use his wrestling in reverse here? Keep this fight standing? Perhaps. Will he show drastic improvements in his striking? I hope so, but I'm off the bandwagon. That's for sure. I gotta pick Lovato here. Like you mentioned, he's diving into guillotines. Like Kevin Casey, cool, but do that against Lovato is a serious threat on the ground, and it just seems like Lovato is tailor-made to beat Honeycutt. So, and he's Honeycutt's tallest opponent to date at 6'3". So he's taller. He is way better on the ground, and he's more willing to just make it a dogfight on the feet. And if it's a dogfight on the feet, Honeycutt has shown to come up flat. So Lovato by submission.
Yeah, I won't be at all surprised if Lovato gets knocked out or brutally ground and pound TKO'd. Either way.
The ground and pound TKO would be shocking. That would shock me.
I mean, he's a jiu-jitsu dude who's who's willing to take a guard game against big wrestlers. He's going to end up getting TKO'd at some point. It's just, you know,
maybe. Damian Maia has had wild success. Not saying Lovato's on Maia's level, but
no, but that's fair. Yeah. It's still, you know, even Maia got, you know, he got
Marquardt showed him what was up for sure.
Yeah. So I won't be surprised one way or another if Lovato gets knocked out here. But yeah, I don't think Honeycutt is, like, ever since those Bradley fights, I think he's less willing to commit than ever, and he's going to try and get takedowns and try and exert his wrestling advantage, and I think he's going to get subbed for it.
Where does he train at? Do we know?
It's cost check.
Dethrone base camp or whatever.
Yeah,
man, that blows my mind too, because I was just saying how Koscheck came out with these crazy right hands and like head kicks, and Honeycutt is just, I don't get it. Like, he might be like one of those guys who's like super athletic but like can't throw a ball. You know what I mean? Like, so he just doesn't exactly know how to transfer the kinetic energy from like his legs to his arms. I don't know. It's odd. Usually wrestlers come out with these huge right hands, like massive overhand rights, and he is just not that. It frustrates me because I want him to be. Like, I thought he was. But
Lovato is the underdog here, opened at +160, drifted up to +214, and has fallen sharply in the past few hours, down to +151. So late money coming in on Lovato. And Honeycutt opened at -210, dropped down to -264, and was staying flat there, and has jumped up to -181 in the past couple of hours.
Yeah,
those odds are closing quickly, I think, just because of this exact read.
Yeah, Lovato's a dark horse. You know, he's old, but you know, that's nothing to sleep on.
But he's facing somebody who's probably going to fight a game that just exactly fits what he wants to do.
Exciting, though. Definitely exciting. Yeah. Intriguing.
Should be a fun fight. And that brings us to our main event. Julia Budd, Arlene Blencowe, and take it away.
Well, I can say that I've already seen this fight, and it wasn't that long ago. They fought October 21st of 2016, and it was basically a slow-paced outfighting match for the first, the first round, and then the second round, Budd finally got a takedown and was able to establish her dominance on the ground. Blencowe really had nothing off of her back. Third round, Blencowe came out pushing forward, looking to strike, but not really landing anything significant. Budd was super tentative, backing up a lot, putting her back up against the cage. Did get a late takedown, but I mean, the fight really was kind of blah, you know. But since then, Blencowe has, Julia Budd, she went on to face Marlis Kunin, picked up a fourth round TKO, mounted ground and pound. Excellent performance from Budd. I mean, she came out looking confident. She came out looking like she finally realized that she's a beast, because up until that point, it was like she had no clue of her own strength. Like, she had no idea. She's like, backing up to Blencowe was insane to me. And like, when she finally let it loose and blasted the takedowns, they were phenomenal. And Blencowe had nothing for that. So it's like, as long as Budd is mentally there and is aware that she is the alpha in the cage, I mean, she is a problem, and she is almost unstoppable. And I think beating Marlis Kunin and winning the inaugural featherweight belt will do wonders for her confidence. And I really expect Bud to come out looking just like she did against Kunin, just as aggressive. I think she might have found out who she is and what she needs to stick with. So I think this fight will look a lot like the first one with Blencowe, just more of Bud imposing her will. And since their first meeting, Blencowe, she has won 3 in a row, but it was against some pretty green competition. So, you know, that shows me absolutely nothing. And so I'm gonna pick Julia Budd here, and I think she's gonna get the finish again in the later rounds, a TKO finish. So I got Blank. It's a real easy pick for me here because I've already seen this.
I wouldn't be surprised if Blencowe actually does better striking in this fight and maybe hurts Bud more often standing. But I also wouldn't be surprised if she just gets taken down repeatedly for another decision loss as well, like at the same time. Because my faith in, like, maybe Julia Budd, maybe that Marlis Kunin fight will be a corner turner. But, you know, it's been 7 years. So maybe it was that, or maybe it was just one really good performance and she'll go right back to being the same backing up constantly, you know, woman who was like a Muay Thai kickboxing champion who looks like she has never thrown a punch in her life before every time she steps in the cage.
Yeah, it's all in her head. I'm almost positive. Like, I've never seen such a head case. It's insane. It's very intriguing. But she has all the physical tools, all the technical tools. She just needs the mindset to be there, and she's got this.
Yep. And I have to pick Bud just because I don't think Blencowe can really take over a fight. The more aggressive she gets, the more she's going to open herself to getting taken down. And Bud is defensive enough that she doesn't get hurt easily. She's, you know, she might get bloodied up a bit, but she's only been lost twice, once to Ronda Rousey and once to Amanda Nunes. So it's not like
that was a long, long time ago.
Yeah. So just the physicality, the takedowns. Blencowe doesn't really seem like she has an easy answer for Bud's wrestling game, and I don't think that's going to change in a year. And at that point, I got to go with Bud. Maybe she even gets a stoppage this time, but I'm guessing it'll be a harder fought version of the first fight.
Yeah, more aggressive, more confident, and less backing up. Hopefully,
would be nice from Bud, but I'm also betting that Blencowe is going to feel like maybe have a little bit bigger of a chip on her shoulder. She changed camps recently, and I wouldn't be surprised if she feels a little bit more like she can go out and show something bigger. And maybe not to win. But
we've never seen Blencowe in the championship rounds. He's been scheduled for 5, but never has actually gone into round 4 or
5. Bud is a prohibitive favorite. Opened at -600, adjusted up to -411. Is currently at -422. Blencowe opened at +400, dropped to +306, and is now currently at +322. So
I have no issues with that whatsoever.
All right. Well, on that note, let's wrap things up. We both got places to be. You can find me on Twitter at TheZaneSimon. You can find Eddie on Twitter at TheEddieMercado. You can find both of us over at BloodyElbow.com. Give us a like on YouTube, the thumbs up thing down there. That helps us a ton. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, MMANation.com, DOTCOM. That's where you get all the latest Bloody Elbow shows, videos, news, analysis, all that stuff we do week in, week out. We'll be back for the 6th round on Saturday. I'll be back for the 6th round on Friday for UFC Tough 26 finale with Nick
Baldwin.
There we go. And we'll be back for the 6th round on Saturday for the UFC 218, and then we'll be back next week. Well, I might not be back for UFC Fresno, but we'll have the Vivisection, If I Did It, Care Don't Care, Heavy Hands, Knuckle Up, all that good stuff we do week in, week out. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.